take a look at this image right here. This, I believe, is over at the Israel-Gaza border. As the temporary ceasefire between the two sides was extended for another day, gunmen opened fire on people waiting for buses along a main highway entering Jerusalem. We know that at least 3 people were killed, several others wounded. The attackers, who are dead, have been identified by police as 2 Palestinian brothers, and Hamas does say they were members of its armed wing and celebrated that attack. David Mencer is an Israeli government spokesperson, joining us now live to talk about the latest developments there in Israel. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
So first off, my first question, I do want to get to some breaking news that we are covering right now, and it sounds like more of the hostages have now been released.
Yes, indeed, another bittersweet moment here in Israel. 2 of our beloved hostages, I can confirm, have arrived back on Israeli soil. We only believe that our hostages are free when they are back on Israeli soil. We are dealing with a genocidal, murderous, terrorist organization, and we have learnt the hard way that this murderous organization cannot be trusted in any way, shape or form. We are delighted to have them home. Right across from this office here, the Prime Minister's office here in Tel Aviv, are the families of those hostages, and they sat there for 55 days, and I pass them every day on the way into work here today, and I see the pain in their eyes, and all of Israel, the whole nation, all Jewish people, and I think all right-thinking people around the world feel the pain of these families. And that's why we are willing to make such painful sacrifices to get them home. We love life, Hamas love death.
What do we know about the attack this morning that happened near Jerusalem at the bus stop? My understanding is that 3 people were killed and several others there, possibly as many as a dozen, were injured. It sounds like the shooters are dead right now, but we are hearing from Hamas that they are essentially celebrating the attack. Could this actually cause any sort of issues with that temporary ceasefire?
Josh, this is the terrorist organization. This is Hamas. This is their modus operandi. At 7:40 a.m., 2 terrorists exited a car in Jerusalem, near the entrance of Jerusalem, and they started shooting, one with an M16 rifle, the other with a pistol, at ordinary Jerusalemites going to work. 3 people tragically have been killed. A 24-year-old pregnant woman, recently married, lost her life this morning. A Talmudical scholar and the head teacher of a high school. Absolutely tragic for the people of Israel. But this is just stealing our determination. Stealing our determination to destroy Hamas, to get rid of this terrible, genocidal, terrorist organization, and rid the Gaza Strip, de-radicalize it, to make sure that Gaza can never again be a threat to our people, while at the same time redeeming our hostages.
Why did Israel decide to extend that ceasefire for another day, and do you see another extension here in the future?
Look, when you're dealing with Hamas, and I think it's very important to understand, there's only one reason that we have redeemed as many hostages as we have. There are now 143 hostages left in Hamas captivity. There's only one reason that they have set hostages free, and that is because of Israel's unrelenting military pressure upon Hamas. That's what gets hostages free. Now, we welcomed 2 more home today. We are expecting another 8, but we have put Hamas on notice. 10 live human beings, Israelis, need to come back every single day. Otherwise, we will return to war. That is something you can be absolutely sure of. The people of Israel are united. We will always keep one hand outstretched in peace. But in the words of King Solomon, there's a time for peace and a time for war. And if we do not get 10 live Israelis back every single day, then we will return to war. And this will be extremely painful for Hamas. while of course sparing the poor civilians who are caught in Gaza under the dastardly rule of Hamas.
Once the ceasefire is over and let's say all of the hostages have been returned, does the mission continue? Does the fight continue to destroy Hamas? Does the mission change in any sort of way?
Hamas must be obliterated. We can no longer be in a situation where Israeli mums and dads can put their kids to sleep on a Friday evening and not be sure that when they wake up on Saturday morning at 6:30 a.m. that there are gunmen with green headbands shouting Allah Akbar and shooting into their homes and killing children in front of their parents and parents in front of their children. This is a fight for Israel's survival. It's a fight we have no other choice but to win. It's not a war that we wanted. We definitely did not want this war. We withdrew every single Israeli from Gaza in 2006. There is not one, 2005, excuse me, there is not one Israeli left in Gaza yet. From that withdrawal, instead of turning Gaza into the next Singapore or the next Monaco, they have turned it into a base from which to attack Israel. Our twin goals are very, very clear for this war. It is number one, to redeem our hostages, and number two, to eliminate Hamas. They will no longer threaten us in the south or in the West Bank or anywhere else.
My last question here before I let you go. Some of those hostages that have been released have said that they were actually met by the leader of Hamas overall. What does that say to the Israeli government about the situation here that is ongoing and the war itself?
Well, I think this is one of the most heartwarming stories in this entire episode. One of the Israeli grandmothers, an 84-year-old woman, reported to Israeli media yesterday that she met Sinwar, the dastardly leader of Hamas, and she said to him straight in the eyes, she said to him, "You should be ashamed of yourself." And he did not reply. Now, this terrorist organization is very, very good at psychological warfare. That is what they're trying to impose on Israel's citizens. But we need to be extremely clear here. If Hamas do not return 10 live Israelis every day, we will return to destroying Hamas. We will return. The country is united. The people are united. The only reason we are having these temporary pauses, these humanitarian pauses, is to redeem our hostages. That is our mission, to clear Hamas out of Gaza and, of course, to redeem our hostages.
David, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. Is there anything else at all that you want to add before I let you go?
Yes, I would like to add that we in Israel here have been extremely heartened by the support not only of President Biden, but of the entire American people. So many people have sent us good wishes and are wishing us well because they know that we are the canaries in the coal mine. This terrorism which is taking place, unfortunately, here in Israel this morning on the streets of our capital, and the 11,000 rockets on our head, this terrible hostage crisis, this inhumane treatment of our people, this won't stay here, unfortunately. We are on the front line of this terror, and we thank the American people and the president for standing by us.
David Mencer there, Israeli government spokesperson. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, and I do want to get back to a little bit of breaking news that we are talking about as more of those hostages have been released. We did learn that 2 more Israeli hostages were released, including Mia Sharf Shem, who is seen in this video. We did speak with her mother several weeks ago as she was waiting for word on her daughter, thinking it was possible that she was killed at the music festival there in Israel back on October 7th, but later popping up in a propaganda video that was put out out by Hamas. Again, these are just some of the images that were shared with us of her at the music festival, provided to us by her mother. We have now learned that she is one of 2 hostages released over the last hour or so, and more of those hostages are expected to be released later on today, as that temporary ceasefire has been continued for at least another day here.